Hello, we're going to be talking about public relations departments and PR firms in this outline and video. This is actually a chapter from fairly early in your textbook, but I decided to hold it until now to see if we had time. Of course, your textbook is Public Relations Strategies and Tactics, Wilcox and Cameron, the 10th edition. Public relations departments actually may now be called corporate communications, or a similar term. They may not be literally referred to as the public relations department. PR now exerts its influence on the highest levels of management in large firms. Public relations has a good deal of prestige. I think the regard for public relations has been increasing in recent years, and one reason for that is information like this. A survey of 200 organizations showed that it is estimated that public relations departments earn a 184% return on investment. So they're bringing money in as it is measured, as it is accounted for, 84% above the cost of operating the public relations or corporate communications department. Return on investment, or ROI, something that is hugely important to companies. So what pays for itself, and what does more than pay for itself? And public relations is high on that list, just below customer service and sales and marketing itself. So PR, public relations, has grown in prestige in recent years. I wanted to show you this. Conceivably, some of you are PR majors. Most of you probably are public relations majors within mass media and journalism. So you may very well be thinking in terms of a job in public relations when you leave college. So this is from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Fairly recent, 2018, so this is just a couple of years old. I'm not sure that just on the internet that anything more recent is available, but looking at what people can expect to make as public relations professionals, and it shows that in 2018 the median pay was $60,000 per year. Now what that means is, median means that as many people make more than that amount as make less than that amount. So that is right in the center. It's not the average, it's the median, and it's a line, and on one side of the line you have half of the people, and on the other side of the line you have the other half of the people. So $60,000 per year, which is above average. Bachelor's degree is typically what is required for entry level, and of course that's what you're working on now. The job outlook for the next 10 years starting in 2018 was pretty good, a 6% growth in the number of jobs in public relations. So I would say all of that is pretty favorable if you're thinking about a career in PR. The corporate structure shapes the PR role. What that means is that it depends on the company, depends on the organization, how the public relations outfit functions. Large companies such as IBM or Coca-Cola, operating in a highly competitive environment internationally, are more sensitive to policy issues, public attitudes, corporate reputation. In other words, they are very concerned with how they are viewed outside of the company. And so PR is going to have a broader role with those large companies than it would with a smaller company. I came across a video of Coca-Cola public relations campaign. This is not advertising. This is a PR project, and from a couple of years ago, and pretty interesting. So let's have a look at it. So this is done for YouTube, to be seen on YouTube. It's for word of mouth. They don't have to buy the time on a television network or local TV channel or radio station. And I'm not sure how many views that got, but relatively inexpensive thing to do, but it gets a lot of it builds a lot of goodwill. And Coca-Cola, of course, sells itself not just on the product itself, but the whole image of Coca-Cola and the idea of Coca-Cola promoting friendly relations between people. So I think that was a very effective campaign there. Involved the people that work in a corporate structure for a large company like Coca-Cola or IBM will be involved in writing executive speeches, counseling of management about issues. They'll be doing research into issues and organizing news conferences, things of that nature. And then now small companies feel less public pressure. They are less in the public eye. And the PR personnel will perform mostly basic duties such as producing a company newsletter, issuing press releases, and so on. The organization of departments, corporate communications, the corporate communications executive is usually called a vice president, perhaps the director, maybe manager. I think vice president or director is more typical. The responsibilities of these departments, there's a long list, by the way, in your textbook on page 100. I could not possibly cover all of that. But they'll be involved in media outreach, speech writing, media tracking, website tracking. So media tracking meaning who is picking up our news releases, who is presenting stories about us on a television show, newspaper, and so on. Website tracking, of course, who is viewing our website, how many views do we have. Public relations will be involved in marketing, and that is considered social media outreach, policing of the brand and logo use, and these companies are very concerned with that. They do not want their logo to be misused or misappropriated in any way. Very careful about that. Electronic communications, of course, overseeing the website. Job requirements for people. This would be now. Here we're talking about the job requirements for a manager or executive director of a public relations program. 7 to 10 years of experience, bachelor's degree in public relations, journalism, or a related field. A public relations department usually is divided into specialized sections, each of which has a separate manager. Top management uses the advice and recommendations from public relations or corporate communications to formulate policy. We were talking about that a couple of minutes ago, that especially with the large organizations that management is dependent on PR to be their eyes and ears and to educate the management on how things are viewed outside of the organization. Different organizations, different public relations or corporate communications departments will have different levels of influence depending on the organization. They may be purely advisory, which would be considered the lowest level, and here the management has no obligations to follow their recommendations at all. Compulsory advisory means that the policy of the company requires top management to at least listen to PR advice before deciding an issue. So the PR organization would at least be assured that it has a say in whatever decision is being debated. And then concurring authority would be the highest level of influence, where PR reviews and approves all communications with external audiences. So PR has to put its stamp of approval on something before it goes out to the public. However, the other side of that coin is that the PR department may also have its own authority limited within the organization. Others also have review and approval authority, in other words. So it may be more difficult to get things done because you have to have the approval of others. Cooperation with other staff functions. Public relations must cooperate and avoid turf battles if possible with other areas within the organization. In particular, the legal department, which will be concerned with the effect of any public statement on litigation, lawsuits. The people in the legal area will be very cautious about what is said publicly. Of course, public relations people are cautious as well. Legal, even more cautious. And so you have to satisfy those folks, and that sometimes is not easy. Human resources will be concerned with possible conflicts with employee communication. So human resources is concerned with things that are happening internally with employees, and public relations is involved with internal communications as well. Advertising will compete with funds with PR to communicate with external audiences, and we saw a really good example of a Coca-Cola PR campaign, a very effective PR campaign. That in a way puts PR in competition with advertising. So advertising asks the question, will it increase sales? Public relations, will it make friends? And we saw exactly in that Coca-Cola video what they were all about there was making friends for Coca-Cola, and I think very successfully. Marketing tends to think of potential customers or buyers, so marketing has a fairly narrow view. Public relations has a much broader perspective. Public relations taking into account government, environmental groups, other groups outside of the organization, whereas marketing is only thinking in terms of potential customers. So PR may run into conflicts with these other organizations within a company. The trend is toward outsourcing. Trend for companies to outsource their communication activities to public relations firms, which we're going to be talking about next time. The reasons would be to bring in special expertise or resources that can't be found within the organization, and to supplement internal staff during peak periods. In other words, maybe something is going on and you need extra help for a relatively short period of time. And then the activities for a firm that would be brought in to help out would be writing and communications, media relations, publicity, strategy and planning, and event planning. So really just pretty much the whole gamut of things that public relations is involved in. So we'll leave it there and pick up this conversation next time. Thanks.